What's going on, guys? This is don't mind the rigged up tripod here. I'm about to use that here in a little bit. This is Clark's old iron, and today we're going to be adding some subframe connectors to this car. As you can see, I got two pieces of, I don't even know what this is, 2" by 2" tube steel, I guess. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take each end, I'm gonna run it from the front to the back, this one from the front to the back, and then these are gonna have to go crossways since the subframe is the front goes like this and then the back is on the outside, so they step. So I'm gonna have to draw a line this way, that way it'll connect to this front subframe rail. And what I'm about to do is I've got my seats out, I got my cardboard to lay down on the ground. I'm gonna have to cut a straight line in this floor for the subframe connector to come up, because you can see my frame rail right there, it would be perfectly fine because it's sticking out. But whenever you get to this back one here, which is kind of hard to see, it's connected to this metal plate here where the bolt holes are, it's flush with the floor. So I'm going to be cutting the floor for everything to fit together, and I am getting all of that rigged up right now. So we've got the first mocked out, which it might look a little thinner over here and a little wider back here. It doesn't really matter. I just need a rough cut, and then I'm going to get some sheet metal and fill it in anyways and make it look all pretty and fill in the gaps, that way we don't have any holes in the floor. As you can see, I've got plenty of holes in the floor to deal with anyways. That's a patch panel anyways. So I'm gonna get everything ready to cut, and then I'll get started. All right, guys, we're about to get into the whole thing and start cutting. I'm probably just gonna show a little bit of cutting and not the whole thing, because this is gonna be probably a pretty little long project, and I'm sure y'all don't want to see me sitting here cutting for 15 minutes straight, so don't mind all the weird angles that I'm gonna get into, because it ain't gonna be pretty. So I'm just gonna start by cutting out this way. I'm really weird. I could just sit outside and probably cut that way, but I'm a lefty, so I think backwards on everything, and it's more comfortable to do this than be out there. And who knows, I may end up switching halfway. So let's go ahead and get into cutting. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, I am gonna do that, because I cannot see the marks whenever I'm sitting like that. So I'm just gonna run the grinder like this, make it look all nice and pretty. Okay, now that I've got the general line cut out of exactly how it needs to be, I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna slowly work my way down. And be sure, I learned this today actually. When I was cutting my fenders, I did not really watch which way I was using the grinder. And it kind of kept getting caught up. It jerked me or whatever. And then whenever I was doing an exhaust system for this car, it got caught a specific way and it actually exploded the disc. Thank God, literally thank God, it happened the way it happened, because it blew up and it went straight to the ground. I was not wearing any eye protection, no gloves, nothing. So right here is your sign to use eye protection, gloves, and everything like that. He taught me a lesson that day. God taught me a lesson to be careful and wear your personal protective equipment. Safety glasses, gloves, ear protection, and all that goodness. But always cut away from yourself, or where the wheel is spinning. I don't know which way it's spinning in this direction, but you always want, whenever it starts to go through, always want it to go away from where it's cutting in. So I'm going to start probably down here and work my way up, because this wheel should be spinning this way. So it'll be cutting away. That way it's a lot less likely to get caught up, because if it's spinning this way, it's going to get caught up on the lip and then jerk it around and possibly explode your blades. So there's your little tip. All right, I will get back with y'all when this is cut out. Okay, so we got the floor cut out. And for those of you that don't know, there's a frame that runs across right here for your seat brackets. And now, if I put my seats in, it's gonna be all floppy. So I'm gonna have to get another bracket after I get this thing welded in, and I'm going to have to make a whole new bracket pretty much. But that's okay, because I plan on going across and reinforcing it that way as well, so I'm not too worried about that. But I do want to see if this piece of subframe connector fits. Lovely, it does. And now I'm probably going to crawl underneath the car and see how everything lines up. So y'all can kind of take a look at that. I'm eventually going to have to put this on jack stands and lift it up, because if I am able to use the welder, I've got to borrow a welder from a fellow that I know. If he's able to give it to me today, I'm going to have to put this car on 4 jack stands so that I'll have enough room to hold this bar and everything and get everything welded. But I look really weird crawling under this car, so don't judge me. And for some reason, it's way tighter under here right now than it usually is. So, probably gonna just go ahead and jack the car up. Okay, so I have currently got exactly what I need cut out. I had to end up going and widening this side a little bit, that way I can make it. Sorry, I just got a text. That way I can make it level with the front frame. So, that's all good. I really wish there was a way that I could show y'all how everything's going to line up. I might be able to, if y'all just give me 2 moments, and then I'll show y'all how to do it. Alright. So y'all can probably only see my big fat head, but let me show y'all how this is going to work. Y'all, if y'all can see the front frame, it's going to line up just like so. I'm going to make sure that this whole bar, this subframe, is going to be pretty much perfectly straight, which is probably going to end up like this. My actual front frame here, if y'all can see it, is a little bit wider than this bar. So, I just had this thing like perfectly in there. I don't know what in the world happened to it, or why it's acting all kind of crazy now. But either way, it's pretty much going to go like this. And then this side is where I'm going to have one of them tube pieces running from this frame over, and then I'm going to connect this big frame to this big bar. I know it all sounds kind of stupid and you probably couldn't see everything, but that's how it's all gonna play out and end up looking. Although it's looking like I'm not gonna get a welder today, so this is probably gonna end up going into tomorrow, and this car's gonna sit here until I can get everything I need to get it done. All right, now then, we got this seat out, and apparently my drill is on the other side. You'll see that balance? It's like a ninja. Okay, so I gotta take my fancy dancy floor patch out here. No, this is not where I live, so don't think I live here and come try to do something bad to me, because you won't find me. Okay, I think that's it. Nope. But see, this one wasn't too bad, so I mean, where's the frame at? Frame's right here at the very front, if y'all can see this, and it runs back to like right here. So I've got to cut a square, and then you get the gist. Yeah, you know. Y'all seen the other side. So that's what we're doing. And you save license plates. Save the license plates so that if you have another hole pop up in a few years, you can patch it with the license plates. All right, we're gonna start cutting on this side now, so prepare yourselves. It's about to get loud. more thing to cut and it's done. Whoa. That's why I always want to cut this way. Because whenever I was cutting this way, I was being stubborn and I wanted to cut this way because it feels more comfortable, but this thing don't care about how comfortable you are. So that's why you always want to cut this way. That way the wheel's spinning away from the way you're cutting, and it cuts so much smoother too. So whenever you're cutting away, it'll just glide, but whenever you're cutting towards the metal, so you just make a small incision and then you cut away. Your wheel is spinning this way, that way the metal or the blade is just sliding down the metal and it's going like this. It's just gliding off of it instead of, I guess, going under it. It's super hard to explain. If you try it, you'll feel the difference. But that's knocked out. Right here is where it gives me trouble, and I'm sure y'all seen how many times I got caught up there, because the floor has a bracket that runs across here. It stops right here and it starts like over here, I think, and that's what holds the floor pans pretty tight and together. That's why I almost fell through whenever that bracket finally gave through. But I've got to cut this. It looks like I went even further. I don't really know why I did that, but I guess I'm gonna do it anyways. Do it on this one. First, I gotta wipe my face off, fellas. And feel that's hot. It's been very miserable here where I live. I'm sure y'all can tell. I mean, I don't know if you can see inside my sunglasses, but my sunglasses are just filled with sweat. So. There you have it. Now my floor is very weak, and here is the exact bracket that I was telling you about. It's actually kind of a good thing because it was giving me troubles whenever I set my seat. You can see where my seat went through right there. So now that that's good and gone, I won't have to worry about that. But I am going to have to make another bracket to support, you know, weight and all that. So see if I can't fish this bad boy up through here. Oh, come on. There we go. There you have it. That's exactly what I needed. Now I'll be able to go from the front frame to the rear frame. And it pretty much perfectly lines up with it. But I'm gonna slide under there and test it out and make sure it all lines up and works. I can tell that I'm low on iron because after I just did all that, stood up, and now I'm about to pass out. But anyways, it took me 13 minutes to do all that. That's not bad time. You'll avoid a lot of mistakes by being patient and taking your time. I've learned that the hard way a lot of times. And this car looks super horrendous right now, but later on it's gonna look super cool. Frame will be sticking up out of that hole, and it'll look all pretty and everything. And I gotta seal up the seam with the floor. And that's probably what's gonna make the floor the sturdiest, is me welding it to the frame. So I won't worry about that too much. But only thing I'm worried about is whenever I put my seats back in, if the frame will hit my seats and interfere with me bolting them down. I don't think it will, because they barely just go through. I mean, like, literally could have avoided this if these floor pans were up just like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch from what I remember. So really, this is not just super necessary, but it would be way harder to bend this stuff up than to just cut it out. So anyways, but that's probably looking like what it's looking like that's all I'm gonna be able to get done for the day. So I'll see y'all whenever I can get more done, which y'all will be seeing here in just a second, because it's about to pan to the next day or however long it's gonna take, because I'm not gonna post this video until I get this finished. So you're gonna have a whole bunch of clips just panning into one, and it'll be multiple days. And yeah, but all right, well, we'll be back. Well, I got a little cut happy, and yeah, all the rest that you just seen sitting here, it's gone. So now I'm gonna have to get some plates of steel to cover all this up. But I'm gonna run my frame first, and then I'll worry about getting patch panels to get everything all put together. And then that's literally the majority of the floor that was rusted out. The front is still a little janky, like you can see some holes. You gotta get up there, and you can see a hole right there by the grinder cord. But that's pretty good, and I'm really shaking, so let me not do that. Yeah, it'll end up looking a lot better whenever this thing's done. Fellers and fillettes, I'm back. And my other piece of steel's not over here, right here. So, as y'all seen yesterday, I got my steel all cut out and perfect. I had to take it back and cut it a little bit more so that we got a pretty good little thing going on. I'm out of breath, I'm sorry. I literally just got done from getting up, sitting down, getting up, laying down, getting up, laying down, getting up, laying down for like 15 minutes straight grinding on something. So this top part was built up a little bit like this, so it kind of looked like it went down and curved in a little bit. I had to straighten all that up a little bit. But then I ran into another problem. After I'd finally gotten everything kind of halfway situated, I ran into the problem of nothing flushing up. So y'all can see here, maybe, that the frame rail that I'm making goes up, curves in a little bit, and then goes up again. And that's what I had to do for where it curves right here. And whenever this is all said and done, it will flush up. It'll flush up good enough for me to weld it. And even though it is a little bit on the taller side, that's not gonna bother me a bit, because it actually could be taller in the back anyways. And that's okay, that's not gonna bother me. All I was looking for is for this to be flush enough for me to start welding on. And it looks like it done exactly that. So we're gonna start getting ready to weld this. But first, I'll show y'all, I'm a little dirty, show y'all the welder that I got. And I'm a little sketched out because I don't know if this thing is gonna work right or not. Yeah, you're probably thinking, man, a little welder's in there. Yeah, it is. And we're gonna find out if it works or not. Because the guy that I usually borrow my welder from is still not back from his trip, so I wasn't wanting to bother him anymore. Yeah, y'all are probably like, whoa, what the actual crap? So I guess I'm gonna read the instruction manual and see if I can get this all figured out. And we're gonna see if I can stick weld these frame rails in. Only God knows. I'll get back with y'all. All right, you can see, no jack holding it up or nothing. It's pretty solid. I've got it tacked. Where's it at? There it is, tacked right there. And it is all good to go in the back. You can see kind of how I done things. I got it welded on the other side there. Now that I've got the jack out of the way, I'll be able to start maneuvering around and welding. But I didn't get any welding videos because, for one, I'm not claiming to, nor am I a certified welder. I suck at welding, to be honest. If it's stick, I suck. I can get by with MIG, but this is just, no, I can't do it very well. But already, it's pretty sturdy, and that's what we want. So I'm gonna probably finish getting this the rest of the way solid, and then I'll get back with y'all. All right, look at there. Watch this. I'm not doing too much because I don't want my car to fall off the jack stands, but it's pretty well solid. I'm not gonna show you the welds because they're atrocious. So I'm probably gonna show y'all how I have to grind this front piece and kind of get everything set up. But I don't know if it is these Chinese rods or not, or it's the welder or the person operating the welder, but it's bad. I can't work this thing out for nothing. I've got it pretty well perfect on the front, but back here it wants to burn through. It burnt through the actual frame of the car. It doesn't want to hold on to the actual bar itself. So it burns through the frame on my car, which it's pretty thick stuff. I'm not really worried about it, but it just doesn't want to stick to one or the other. It switches all the time. So I'm really having to mess with it, and I've only got one rod left after this little bit, so I'll have to go get some new ones. And that may just solve my problem. And then after I get everything to where it's solid like this one, I'm just going to say that's good for now. And I'm going to take it to somebody that's got a handy dandy big MIG welder and somebody that's got a very good experience. I'm just going to let them finish it. So anyways, that's the deal. Thank you. Uh-oh. This should end up being pretty close. So, this is how I do it. I slide it in this way. I've got a jack stand here. Need to scoot it in a little bit. Maybe. There we go. Alright, and then whenever y'all aren't in my way, I'll get down here. Lay down. Measure everything out. Come on. Need to let this down just a hair. Okay. Now then, what needs to happen? What am I hitting? The top. Okay. Bring that back. Now then, we gotta bring the top back. It should end up working. I don't know if y'all just see. Yeah, y'all did. Okay, we got to bring this top back a little bit, and it should end up shaping up. Got everything tacked on this side and tacked on that side. On the opposite side of this one, it's actually, you can't see because my fingernail, on the opposite, gee whiz, man. I'll tell you what, I've been having a field day with this. I've been getting kind of irritated. It is welded right there and halfway welded right there. And then it's welded on the other side of this one. So it's pretty sturdy right now. The old Timu welder, as I'm gonna call it, is actually working fairly decent. The only problem I have with this one right here is you can see that one's pretty well straight. I don't know how well you'll be able to tell, but this one, it's just a little bit this way. It's really very slight, but it's not gonna hurt nothing, so I'm just gonna roll with it. That, and I completely forgot to push it over more before I welded it, but that's okay. As much trouble as I'm having with it, it'll be all right. Got you a nice Sprite. Oh, and I cut myself. But anyways, I gotta run to O'Reilly's and get some welding rods real quick. So then we'll be able to finish all this up and we'll be good to go. Folks, everything is done for the most part. I have everything kind of conjobbled up back in my car, but you can see the frame there. And as a matter of fact, my seat sits perfectly on the frame. And we're about to test something out. The seats still are facing inwards just a little bit, but it's not as bad as what it used to be. And lay down on the ground one more time. You can see here, there's where the frame connects to the other frame. Don't look at the welds, they really suck, I promise you. And then there's where the frame connects to the other frame. Once I get some front suspension for this car, once I get some all new front suspension, because you can tell I need it, I'm gonna be able to take my car to work, and we have a lift there and a lot better welder, so I'll be able to put it up on the lift and weld it, and it'll be so much easier. It'll look so much better, and I'll actually be able to get a pretty nice bead going. It'll be way more sturdy on the welds. So anyways, there you have it. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I know I probably didn't get too much of me working and all this and that, but it's all I can kind of work together right now with having to go here and go there and borrow this and do this and all that. So I really hope we all enjoyed it, and we'll see y'all next time.